My dear brothers and sisters, there will come a day when you will look in the mirror and realize that the reflection staring back at you has grown tired. Tired of the same mistakes, tired of the same pain, tired of being misunderstood, unheard, unseen. And it is in that moment, that holy, trembling moment, that God whispers, "Child, it is time to rise anew." Reinvention is not running away from who you are. It is returning to the truth of who you were meant to be before the world told you otherwise. When the dawn arrives and the world still rests in its quiet slumber, there comes a sacred time when your soul begins to stir. It is in those tender moments of stillness, when you can hear the whisper of your own heart, that truth begins to speak. And if you are still enough, if you are brave enough, you will hear it say, "Child, it is time to see yourself." Self-awareness is not about judgment. It is not the cruel mirror that shows you your flaws and calls them failures. No, my dear. It is the gentle gaze of grace that says, "Look again. You are more than what has happened to you. To reinvent yourself, you must first meet yourself, not the version that you've shown to the world, not the mask that hides your trembling, but the real you, the soul behind the survival." You see, we spend so many years running from pain, from memories, from mistakes that echo through the corridors of our mind. We cover our wounds with smiles, we bury our fears beneath busyness, and we pretend that silence does not ache. But the truth, oh the truth, it waits. It waits patiently in the quiet corners of your being, whispering your name until you finally turn inward and say, "I am ready." And when you do, when you dare to stop running and simply be, the light of awareness begins to unfold like the sunrise over a weary land. You begin to see yourself, not as broken, but as beautifully unfinished. You begin to understand that every scar you carry is not shame, but scripture. Written proof that you have endured, that you have grown, that you have been transformed by the living hand of grace. To become aware of yourself is to awaken to your divinity. It is to recognize that there is something sacred within you that the world did not give and cannot take away. It is to realize that the same breath that formed the stars, that painted the seas, that whispered life into dust, also breathes through you. When you know this, truly know it, you begin to walk differently. You speak with purpose. You no longer shrink to fit the smallness of other people's opinions. You no longer chase validation like a thirsty traveler begging for water. You understand that you are the well. You are the vessel through which God's glory pours. But awareness is not always gentle. No, sometimes it comes as fire. Sometimes it burns away illusions you were not yet ready to lose. It will show you where you have settled for less, where you have given too much of yourself to people who could not hold you, where you have silenced your voice for the comfort of others, and oh, it will hurt. Growth always does. Yet even in that ache, there is beauty, because when the false things fall away, the truth can finally breathe. And that truth, my beloved, is where your reinvention begins. For how can you become new if you do not know what must be released? How can you move forward if you do not understand what has been holding you back? Self-awareness asks you to stand naked before your own soul and say, "Here I am, imperfect, unfinished, and still worthy." It asks you to hold both your brilliance and your brokenness in the same hand and to love them equally. It asks you to forgive yourself for the moments when you did not know better and to honor yourself for the courage to begin again. Do not fear this meeting with yourself. Do not turn away from your reflection when it reveals your pain. For in that pain lies your power. Every tear that falls is not weakness. It is cleansing. Every truth that rises from your silence is not shame. It is freedom. And as you learn to see yourself clearly, you begin to see others differently too. You recognize that everyone is walking through their own wilderness, carrying stories you may never hear, fighting battles you cannot see. Self-awareness softens you. It humbles you. It teaches you compassion, not just for others, but for the tender soul within you who has tried so hard to survive. You begin to speak to yourself with gentleness. You stop saying, "I should be farther along," and start saying, "Look how far I've come." You stop demanding perfection and start celebrating progress. You stop living in comparison and start walking in truth. Awareness becomes your teacher, your healer, your liberation. It shows you that you do not need to become someone else to be worthy. You simply need to remember who you already are. A child of divine intention, crafted with care, loved without condition. So my dear, do not rush your awakening. Sit in your stillness. Listen to your breath. Let the noise of the world fall away until all that remains is the sound of your own soul humming softly beneath your ribs. That song, that holy, unshakable song, is the sound of your becoming. And when you finally rise, when you look in the mirror with eyes that see beyond the surface, you will know reinventing yourself was never about becoming someone new. It was about returning to the truth of who you have always been. That is self-awareness. That is the beginning of transformation. That is the moment when you stop chasing light because you finally remember you are it. Pain is a teacher the world seldom thanks, yet it teaches with the precision of divine purpose. It does not knock softly, nor does it ask for permission before entering your life. It arrives uninvited, a guest you wish to turn away, yet one whose presence is necessary for your becoming. Oh, my dear, if you have ever cried yourself to sleep, if you have ever felt the sting of betrayal, if you have ever watched a dream crumble in your hands, then you have met pain. And though it may have broken you, it has also built you in ways that comfort never could. When pain comes, it strips away the illusions that once made you feel safe. It removes the layers you wore to please others. It silences the noise so you can finally hear the truth inside your own soul. You see, pain does not come to destroy you. It comes to reveal you. It exposes what is real, what is eternal, what cannot be taken away. And though it may tear through your world like a storm, it leaves behind the clear air of understanding. I have learned that every wound is a doorway. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every loss, they are sacred passages leading you closer to your purpose. The things that make you weep today are often the very things that will make you wise tomorrow. Pain has a way of burning away everything false until all that remains is what is true. And that truth, beloved, is your strength. Do not curse the nights that broke you open. Those were the nights heaven was shaping you. Every tear you shed watered the soil of your destiny. Every sleepless hour was a prayer in disguise. For God never wastes pain. He transforms it, molds it, turns it into the foundation of your power. You think you were buried, but you were being planted. The flower does not bloom without the darkness of the soil. The diamond is not formed without pressure. The soul does not awaken without pain. It is in our breaking that light enters. It is in our surrender that grace begins to sing. Oh yes, my child. The pain that once made you question everything is the same pain that will give birth to your purpose. When you stand in the fire of affliction, remember gold does not fear the flame. It knows the fire refines it. And so it is with you. Life will test you not to break you, but to bless you with resilience. You may lose people, you may lose comfort, you may lose your way, but you will find yourself. And in finding yourself, you will find the strength to rise again. There's a holy rhythm in the way pain transforms. At first it feels like chaos, like the end of everything you knew. But with time, with faith, with gentle reflection, you begin to see that pain was not the end. It was the beginning of your awakening. It taught you empathy. It taught you courage. It taught you how to stand when standing seemed impossible. You begin to look back and say, if I had not gone through that, I would not have discovered this. You begin to realize that your scars are sacred maps leading you home. Every one of them carries a lesson, a memory, a miracle. You do not need to hide them. They are not symbols of defeat. They are proof that you survive. Pain will ask you to let go of who you were. It will whisper, you can no longer stay here. It will move you from comfort to calling, from sorrow to strength, from bitterness to beauty. And though the transition hurts, it is holy. Because in the breaking of who you were, the birth of who you are meant to be begins. When you walk through pain, do not rush it. Let it teach you. Sit with it like an old friend who knows something you do not. Ask it, what are you here to show me? because there is always a lesson hidden in the ache. Sometimes the lesson is patience. Sometimes it is forgiveness. Sometimes it is the realization that you are stronger than you believed. But always, always it is love. Love for yourself, love for others, love for the journey that has shaped you. And when you emerge from that valley, when you step into the light again, you will carry a new kind of beauty, the kind that cannot be painted or bought. It is the beauty of a soul that has been tested and did not break. The beauty of someone who has walked through the fire and come out gold. So when pain visits your door again, do not ask, why me? Ask, what are you making of me? For the answer will always be more compassionate, more grounded, more aware, more alive. Pain teaches you to cherish joy. You learn to savor laughter, to treasure small mercies, to find gratitude even in the ordinary. You learn that healing does not mean forgetting, it means forgiving the past its hold on you. You learn that light and shadow coexist, and that both are necessary for growth. In the stillness that follows pain, you will hear the quiet voice of purpose. It will not shout, it will whisper. It will say, now that you have walked through the fire, go and be light for others, because your suffering was never just for you. It was meant to give you wisdom, to comfort the hurting, to guide the lost, to speak life into those who think they cannot go on. That is how pain becomes purpose. That is how ashes turn to beauty. That is how broken hearts become beacons of hope. So stand tall, my dear. Wipe your tears, but do not erase your story, for your story is sacred. It is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. You are not a victim of pain, you are its masterpiece. And when the world asks you how you made it through, you will smile and say, grace carried me. Then you will lift your head to the heavens. Thank the pain that purified you and walk forward. Not as the same person who once fell, but as the woman, the man, the soul reborn in purpose. Letting go is not an act of weakness, my dear. It is the quiet courage of the soul. It is the sacred surrender of one season so another may begin. It is the unclenching of your fists when you have held on too tightly, for too long, to things that no longer feed your spirit. It is the moment you stop trying to breathe life into what God has already declared finished. There is a weight we carry when we refuse to release. The weight of what could have been. The weight of who we used to be. The weight of love unreturned, of dreams that did not unfold the way we planned. And oh, how heavy that weight becomes. It drags the spirit, clouds the mind, and chains the heart to moments long gone. Yet we carry them, not because we want to, but because we fear what will happen if we set them down. We are afraid that letting go will leave us empty. But child, hear me when I tell you. Emptiness is not a curse, it is the space where miracles are born. Letting go requires faith, not in the outcome, but in the one who holds the outcome. You must trust that what left you was never meant to stay, and what is yours will not pass you by. You must trust that there is a rhythm to loss, a divine choreography that leads even endings toward renewal. For just as the tide pulls away only to return with greater fullness, so too will life return to you what is truly meant for you. So many of us hold on to pain because it is familiar. We cradle it like an old friend, whispering, at least I know what this feels like. But familiarity is not freedom. You cannot soar while clinging to the branch of your past. The bird does not question the air before it flies. It simply spreads its wings and trusts. That, my dear, is what letting go feels like. It is faith in motion. When you let go, you are not erasing your history. You are releasing your attachment to how it should have been. You are saying, this chapter served me once, but it no longer defines me. You are saying, I can bless what broke me, thank what taught me, and walk away lighter. For healing is not about forgetting. It is about remembering without reliving. It is about looking back with gratitude, not grief. Sometimes you will have to let go of people you love. And that may be the hardest lesson of all, but understand this, not everyone is meant to walk the full length of your journey. Some come only to teach you, to test you, or to remind you of what you will no longer tolerate. Their exit does not diminish your worth. It simply clears the path for those who can walk beside you with truth and tenderness. Do not chase what has chosen to leave. Love them, bless them, release them, and make room for peace to take their place. And sometimes, letting go means releasing the version of yourself that no longer fits. The one who needed approval. The one who stayed silent to be accepted. The one who confused endurance for love. You have outgrown that self. And that is not something to mourn. It is something to celebrate. You are not betraying who you were. You are honoring who you are becoming. When God begins to elevate you, He will often require you to release what once felt safe. You may lose comfort, certainty, even company. But what you gain is clarity. What you gain is freedom. The caterpillar must let go of the branch to become the butterfly. It cannot cling to what was and expect to fly. Letting go is an act of trust, yes, but it is also an act of love. Love for yourself, love for your growth, love for the life waiting beyond your fear. When you release what no longer serves your soul, you make room for divine restoration. You create space for the blessings that have been waiting to find you. And when they arrive, you will understand why the letting go had to hurt. You will see how every goodbye prepared you for a greater hello. You will realize that every loss was actually a lesson in disguise. You will thank the pain that pushed you forward, and you will marvel at how light you feel when you stop carrying what was never yours to hold. So do not be afraid of release. Do not fear the tears that come when you unclench your hands. They are not signs of weakness. They are symbols of rebirth. Every tear that falls is water for the seeds of your next season. Every sigh of surrender is a song of freedom. There is beauty in the breaking, if you allow it. There is peace in the pause after you let go. In that stillness you will find yourself again, softer, wiser, stronger. You will begin to feel the quiet hum of your own spirit saying, "Now we can breathe." And when you breathe freely, you will remember something sacred. Letting go is not losing. It is making room for what is truly meant for you to arrive. It is stepping aside so that grace can flow unhindered. It is saying, I choose peace over pain, purpose over pride, and growth over grief. Life is a rhythm of holding and releasing. You hold until it hurts, and then you learn to release until it heals. That is how the heart expands. That is how the soul matures. That is how we rise. So, my beloved, loosen your grip. Let the past fall away like autumn leaves, making way for spring. Trust that what is meant to stay will remain. Trust that God will not remove without reason. And when your hands feel empty, lift them toward the heavens and whisper, I am ready for the new. Because the moment you release what was, the universe begins to conspire for what will be. The doors that were locked will open. The peace that was distant will draw near. The love that seemed impossible will find its way to you, not because you chased it, but because you created the space for it to enter. Letting go, dear one, is not the end of your story. It is the turning of the page. It is the pause before the next miracle. And when that miracle comes, as it surely will, you will look back with gratitude and say, thank you, God, for teaching me to trust the beauty of release. There comes a time in every life when the breaking feels unbearable. When you sit alone in the quiet of your room, clutching the remnants of a heart that once believed it could not be broken. The world feels heavy, the air thick with memory and regret. You wonder how something so painful could ever lead to anything beautiful. But my dear, listen to me closely now. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open. You are not falling apart, you are unfolding into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Becoming is a sacred process. It does not come dressed in comfort or ease. It comes through the shaking, the unraveling, the long nights when tears baptize the weary soul. It comes through loss, through confusion, through those moments when you say, God, I don't understand. But oh, if only you could see what is being formed beneath your pain. The caterpillar does not curse the cocoon. It yields to the stillness, trusting that what looks like confinement is in truth preparation for flight. You too must trust your becoming. You must believe that there is a purpose even in the pause, even in the ache. For every time life bends you, it is shaping you. Every time it humbles you, it is strengthening you. Every time it breaks your heart, it is teaching you how to love more truthfully. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding the layers that no longer belong. The pain you feel is not punishment. It is transformation. Too often we believe that when something ends, we are finished. We mourn as though life has closed its door forever. But endings, beloved, are simply beginnings in disguise. The seed must crack before it grows. The dawn must break before the light can rise, and the soul must sometimes be wounded before it can remember its divine strength. You are in the process of becoming, not breaking. You are being remade by the hands of grace. There is beauty in your unraveling. Though you cannot see it yet, there will come a morning when you will stand before your reflection and see not the pain, but the purpose that was born from it. You will see eyes that have cried, yet still shine with courage. You will see scars that no longer sting, but tell stories of triumph. You will see a heart that has learned to open again, not because it forgot the hurt, but because it discovered that love is greater than fear. Becoming demands surrender. It asks you to trust that God knows what He is doing even when you do not. It asks you to walk through valleys without knowing where they end. It asks you to release control, to let go of the version of yourself that can no longer carry your calling. There will be days when you feel lost, unsure of who you are or where you are headed. But even in that confusion, you are being guided. For the soul, like the moon, waxes and wanes, yet it never disappears. When you begin to see life through the eyes of becoming, pain no longer feels like punishment. It becomes sacred fire. It burns away the illusions you once clung to. The need to please, the hunger to prove, the fear of not being enough. It refines you until all that remains is truth. Until your soul stands tall in its divine essence, saying, "Here I am, still standing, still shining, still becoming." Do not rush this process. Do not demand to see the masterpiece while the paint is still wet. Growth takes time. Healing takes time. God's artistry takes time. You must learn to be patient with your own becoming. The rose does not bloom the moment it is planted. It grows quietly in darkness first, gathering strength beneath the soil. So it is with you. Your darkness is not your ending. It is your preparation. And when the light comes, when it comes, it will not simply illuminate you, it will radiate from within you. Because the light you carry after breaking is different. It is not borrowed from the world, it is born from the depths of your endurance. It is the kind of light that does not flicker when the wind blows. It is steady, it is sacred, it is yours. So when you find yourself in pieces, remember the breaking is not the end. The breaking is the birthplace of becoming. You are not who you were, and that is something to be grateful for. For every trial that has come against you has shaped you into a vessel of strength, empathy, and wisdom. You have learned to see beauty in imperfection, to find peace in process, to love yourself even in your unfinishedness. One day someone will look at you and see grace. They will wonder how you can smile after all you've endured. They will marvel at the way you carry yourself with gentleness and power. And you will smile because you'll know the breaking didn't destroy you. It defined you. It taught you that resilience is not the absence of pain, but the decision to rise despite it. So stand tall, my dear. Breathe deep. Speak kindly to yourself. You are in the divine workshop of your becoming. Each moment, each tear, each triumph is a stroke of heaven's brush upon your soul. Do not despise your process. Do not curse your cocoon. One day soon you will stretch your wings and realize that everything you thought was breaking you was in truth building you. You are not broken. You are blooming. You are not falling apart. You are falling into place. You are not the same, and thank God for that. Because what you are becoming, strong, wise, radiant, is far greater than what you once were. And when you rise from your season of transformation, you will carry a new kind of peace. The peace of one who has walked through the fire and found herself reborn in the light. You will know beyond doubt that every shadow served a purpose, every tear was sacred, every loss a lesson. So whisper it softly to your heart tonight. I am not breaking, I am becoming. Let those words be your prayer, your anthem, your truth. Because even now as you stand in the in-between, heaven is working through you. You are still growing, still unfolding, still becoming the masterpiece you were always meant to be. When you rise, beloved, the world feels it. The air shifts, the ground beneath your feet remembers your strength, and heaven leans in to watch the miracle of a soul reborn. Rising is not merely about standing again after the fall. It is about standing different, standing wiser, standing freer, standing with a light that cannot be dimmed by the shadows that once haunted you. You rise not to prove your worth, but to honor it. You rise because the divine within you refuses to remain hidden any longer. There is a quiet power in rising after the storm. It is not loud, not boastful. It is steady like the dawn reclaiming the night. When you rise, you do not erase your scars. You wear them as symbols of victory. You say to the world, yes, I have been through the fire, but the fire did not consume me. You stand as living proof that resilience is stronger than ruin. You become a walking testimony that what was meant to destroy you became the very soil of your growth. The world will tell you to hide your struggle, to smile while you bleed, to pretend you are untouched by life's storms. But do not hide, child. Do not shrink. The light that shines through your cracks is what gives others hope. People do not need your perfection, they need your truth. They need to see the courage it takes to fall and still choose to rise. They need to know that healing is possible, that redemption is real, that grace is enough. When you rise, you do not rise for yourself alone. You rise for those who are still on their knees, searching for the strength to lift their heads. You rise for the mothers who cry behind closed doors, for the fathers who feel forgotten, for the children who have lost faith in love. You rise for the broken-hearted, the weary, the silenced, because your rising reminds them that they too can begin again, that no night lasts forever, and no wound is beyond healing. Your life becomes a lighthouse. Your story becomes a song of deliverance. Every step you take forward sends ripples through the lives around you, without even realizing it. Your courage gives others permission to be courageous. Your light gives others the confidence to kindle their own. And that, my dear, is the quiet revolution of the soul. Transformation that multiplies simply by being witnessed. But rising is not easy. It demands truth. It demands the forgiveness. It demands that you unclench your fists from the pain and open your hands to receive peace. You cannot rise while still gripping resentment. You cannot ascend while anchored in bitterness. To rise is to release. To rise is to forgive. Not because they deserve it, but because your spirit does. You must forgive the ones who hurt you, yes. But even more, you must forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the times you stayed too long, for the love you gave too freely, for the dreams you delayed out of fear. You did what you knew to do with the wisdom you had then. Now you know better. And now, beloved, you can do better. Forgiveness is the wind beneath your wings. Without it, you remain grounded by guilt and grief. With it, you soar. When you rise, you will feel the pull of your past trying to call you back. The old habits, the old fears, the old voices that whisper, "Who do you think you are?" But you must answer with conviction. I am who God says I am. You must look your pain in the eye and say, "Thank you for teaching me, but I am no longer your student." You must choose to walk in light, even when darkness beckons with familiarity. There will be moments when the world does not celebrate your rising. There will be people who preferred you small, silent, uncertain. But you must not let their discomfort shrink your wings. Remember, eagles do not apologize for flying high. They do not explain their altitude to those who remain on the ground. So too must you rise unapologetically, knowing that your very elevation is an act of worship, a declaration of divine purpose. And oh, the view from up there, the peace that comes when you finally see the pattern in the pain, when you understand that every detour had direction, every delay had design. From that place you no longer see life as a collection of losses, but as a masterpiece of becoming. You see that every fall prepared you for the rise. You see that grace was there all along, even when you thought you were alone. When you rise, you will feel a new compassion bloom within you. You will stop judging others for their struggles because you will remember your own. You will speak softly to the wounded. You will listen without needing to fix. You will love without needing to possess. Rising teaches you empathy, the kind that reaches beyond words and touches the soul. And then something beautiful happens. Your rising becomes contagious. Your light begins to wake others from their slumber. You start to see a world full of people lifting one another instead of tearing one another down. You start to understand that every individual resurrection contributes to the collective healing of humanity, that when one of us rises, we all rise a little higher. Do not wait for the perfect time to rise. There will never be one. Rise in your imperfection. Rise in your uncertainty. Rise even with trembling hands and tear-streaked cheeks. For the act of rising itself is what makes you whole. Every step you take toward light, no matter how small, shakes the foundations of darkness. And as you rise, keep your heart open. Do not let the hardness of life harden you. Let your pain make you softer, not smaller. Let it deepen your compassion, not dull your faith. Let it remind you that the human spirit, though fragile, is unbreakable when touched by divine grace. One day, you will look back and realize that the rising was the most sacred part of your story. Not the victory, not the applause, but the quiet decision to stand up one more time when everything in you wanted to stay down. That moment, that sacred yes, is the birthplace of transformation. So rise, beloved. Rise with grace. Rise with gratitude. Rise knowing that your scars are not signs of defeat, but badges of endurance. Rise knowing that you are the answered prayer of your ancestors, the fulfillment of dreams once whispered into the wind. Rise because the world needs your light. Rise because someone's hope depends on your example. Rise because you were never meant to live small. And as you do, may your rising call forth the rising of others, until the whole world stands, shining, unbroken, and beautifully reborn.